Welcome back to another MMS 2018 sponsored interview. Joining us today is Bob Kelly. He's the manager of product management for Flexera, our gold sponsor. Welcome, Bob. Can you tell us a little more about yourself?
Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here. I run product management for the SVM and application readiness product lines. I've got a long history in systems management and packaging space. I've written books and papers and done many events. I was an MVP for a time before I moved more into the product management space. And a lot of people might recognize me for some of the communities that I started. App Deploy and IT Ninja and App Details are all projects that I initially started that are out there today in some form.
Those are all exciting. Actually, I had no idea you were the starter of those things. I use some of those regularly, in fact.
Oh,
I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with Flexera. I know I am. I've actually used numerous products from you guys at various shops in the past. But could you tell the rest of us a little bit about your company?
yeah. Flexera's got a strong uh, presence in the software space as a whole. It's reimagining how software is bought, sold, managed, and secured. Really, it's a split between products and solutions for sellers and for consumers. So for sellers, we've got tools like Install Shield and solutions to help monetize applications, to gain insights into open source. On the consumer side, we've got tools like FlexNet Manager for software license optimization, as well as our software vulnerability management product, which is one of the ones I'm responsible for, to identify and remediate vulnerable applications. And of course, most people know Admin Studio and App Portal as tools to help people get applications ready for successful deployment.
Absolutely. So could you tell us a little more about some of these products you guys are known for the most?
Yeah, sure. I would say that probably Install Shield is the most recognizable brand. Install Shield and Admin Studio both have been around for a really long time, but are continuing to deliver a lot of value to a lot of customers. We've also got FlexNet Manager, which a lot of people know as a major player in the software license optimization space. And from a security perspective, Flexera acquired Security Research, which I think is also a pretty well recognized brand. Secunia provides the research for our vulnerability products.
Yeah, Sakuna was a local company here in the Twin Cities, so a lot of us locals are very familiar with it.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah.
so what's new with you guys over the past year? Have you had any exciting changes you want to share with us recently?
Yeah, I'd say there's been a lot of acquisitions. So a really big one was BDNA. That was less than a year ago. It's having a lot of positive impacts across the company, effect on our portfolio as a whole as we migrate all our tools towards this common data platform solution. So it's already a really rich source of research. Technopedia, I guess that's another brand I should have mentioned earlier that people may recognize. And then we've got more and more acquisitions. So there was just two announced last week. Um, Meta SaaS for helping customers manage their SaaS spend, as well as Brainware Group, which further extends our SLO presence in Europe. So it's a growing company, remaining focused on the same challenges that we're trying to solve across the industry from a software perspective, but gaining more talent, more valuable IP. So it's pretty exciting times.
Sounds great. Sounds like you guys are growing rapidly. So one of the other big major challenges that people encounter these days is keeping up on patching, keeping your system secure. And you mentioned that you guys have a product that can help with that. Can you tell us a little more on that one?
Yeah, sure. Software Vulnerability Manager is the product. Some people might know the name Corporate Software Inspector. We recently renamed it as part of a large rebranding across the company. But Security Research, they write vulnerability reports, and we can detect tens of thousands of products. So it's really comes down to there's a vulnerability out there. Um, the amount of data and how to consume that vulnerability or that CVE can be a challenge. So one of the things that Secunia Research does is kind of does their own research around these CVEs and validates them, scores them themselves, and then writes an advisory that could be related to one or more vulnerabilities. That's a more consumable set of information for people to take action on. And then that is tied in SVM to not only the research aspect of it, but being able to then focus that research data on the things that you care about. So it will do an inventory of the vulnerable applications across your environment. Most people don't know exactly what they have installed where, what versions are out there. So being able to dynamically identify 5 different vulnerable versions of Java, for example, is awfully valuable. And then with that, tying it to the research, so you can look at that advisory and understand what exactly is the risk. Having their own the Secunia scores assigned to it makes it much more actionable in terms of, okay, I've got way too much to do in terms of tackling all these vulnerabilities in my environment. Which ones do I do first? And there's some that they're a vulnerability, sure, and you should patch them, but the risk is so low that they should not be a concern of yours when you have much more important things to address that are actually being exploited, that are actually making your systems vulnerable. And then finally, we tie that research, that assessment, to the patching. So the product integrates with SCCM and WSUS to extend that patching capability to these third-party applications, and we can publish patches to those so that you can get them remediated. We offer a bunch out of the box as well in terms of patches for popular applications that are susceptible to vulnerabilities.
That's excellent. I think that sounds like quite the useful tool. I can't stress how I used actually the CSI. Yeah, this sounds like it's 10 times better than that was even. So in terms of the conference, we have less than a week away now. What are you guys' plans for it? I'm sure you guys have a booth set up. Do you have any like sponsor sessions or anything like that going on too?
Yeah, I'm doing a session with Kent Augerland on Monday afternoon. We're going to be talking about the challenges of patching and setting up a process. The goal really is to make it less of a here's our product and here's how it works session. We want to try to make it a little more interesting to the config manager crowd. So don't look for just a sales pitch in that session if you come. And of course, we'll have the booth and we'll be set up to show SVM as well as Admin Studio, which just had a major release.
Very nice. Well, we're excited to have you guys out there. You guys have been a sponsor for a number of years, and we always like having you. I look forward to seeing you in a little under a week now. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thanks. Looking forward to it.